Now, as Bo Derek celebrates her 67th birthday, prepare to be amazed by her transformation over the years. Today, she looks remarkably different from her iconic early days, yet her striking beauty still shines through. Despite aging, she maintains a confident presence that commands attention and respect. Her hair may have grayed, but her radiant smile remains unchanged, showing a lifetime of experiences. The years have brought wisdom and grace, and her posture exudes a calm strength. She has embraced her age with pride, refusing to hide or diminish her natural appearance. Her style has evolved, yet she still radiates the charm that made her famous. As she steps into her late 60s, it's clear that her spirit remains vibrant and resilient. Watching her today, it's impossible not to admire her ability to age gracefully and stay true to herself. This milestone reminds us that beauty and charisma can only grow stronger with time, and Bo Derek's story continues to inspire. After her breakthrough in the film 10, Bo Derek quickly became a household name around the world. Her performance in that movie captured the attention of audiences everywhere, especially because of the iconic beach scene shot in slow motion. In that scene, she wore her signature cornrows, her golden tan gleaming in the sunlight, creating a look that many people still remember strongly today. Her beauty seemed almost perfect to viewers, and she became a symbol of attractiveness and style for many generations. This role changed her life completely, taking her from a newcomer to an international star almost overnight. Her smile, presence, and the striking image she presented on screen started conversations about beauty, race, and fashion, shaping pop culture in new ways. However, her fame was not just about her on-screen role. People became curious about her personal life too. Many paid close attention to her relationship with John Derek, a director who was 30 years older than her. Derek had directed her in a European film when she was still underage, which caused some controversy. When they married, it sparked debates, criticisms, and endless tabloid stories. Despite all the criticism, Bo stood strong and stayed true to her choices, showing resilience and confidence amid public scrutiny. Many actresses might have found such pressure overwhelming, but Bo refused to be knocked down. She kept her dignity and remained determined to live life on her own terms. Even after that first big film, she continued to face challenges in Hollywood, yet she stayed true to herself. Her ability to handle fame, criticism, and personal struggles without losing her sense of self became a core part of her lasting legacy. The success in 10 was only the start. It was her strength, her unique look, and her fearless attitude that made her a lasting symbol in popular culture. Her story reminds many of the power of resilience and staying authentic, no matter what public opinion says. Before she was Bo Derek, the famous actress known for her stunning beauty and iconic roles, she was Mary Kathleen Collins, a lively girl growing up in the sunny suburbs of Southern California. As the oldest child among 4 siblings, she lived in a home filled with creativity, effort, and emotional struggles. Her father, Paul Collins, was involved in the boating business, which helped provide a comfortable middle-class life for the family and created a close connection to the ocean and outdoor California culture. Her mother, Norma Bass, was a professional makeup artist working in Hollywood, a job that hinted at Bo's future career in the entertainment world. From a young age, Bo showed she was independent and loved animals, especially horses, which played an important part in her life and became a part of her public image. Despite the picture-perfect California lifestyle, her childhood had its emotional difficulties. Her parents' divorce during her teenage years was a difficult event that affected her deeply, changing her sense of safety and pushing her towards independence earlier than most peers. She was both shy and strong during her school years, and though she didn't initially plan to act, her beauty and natural charm drew attention and opened new opportunities. Her early life was shaped by feelings of joy, pain, curiosity, and growing maturity, creating the foundation for the woman who would later become Bo Derek, known worldwide for her beauty and charisma. When she was just 16 years old, Bo Derek, then known as Mary Kathleen Collins, experienced a life-changing moment that shaped her future in ways she could not yet understand. During an audition in 1973 for a small film called Fantasies, she met John Derek, a well-known actor who had recently turned to directing. At that time, John Derek was 30 years older than her and was married to television star Linda Evans. What started as a simple professional meeting quickly turned into something more complicated and unexpected. John was immediately taken by Bo's natural beauty and youthful charm, seeing in her not just a potential actress for his film, but also a muse who could help bring his artistic ideas to life. He offered her the lead role, but with a condition: she had to bleach her brunette hair to blonde, a change that symbolized her transformation and her new image. This transformation was more than just about her look. It marked the beginning of John's influence over her identity and career. Their relationship grew deeper under the pretense of making movies, but it also involved mentorship, romance, and a level of control that was often hidden from the public eye. As their bond became stronger, problems arose in John's marriage to Linda Evans, which caused even more media attention and gossip. To escape the intense scrutiny of American society and the law, John decided to take Beau to Europe, where the rules about age and relationships were more relaxed. This move solidified their partnership, both professionally and personally, which would last for decades. Over time, they shared ambitions, loyalty, and a complicated relationship that made headlines and drew public criticism. Despite the controversy, their story intertwined deeply, shaping the woman she would become and her position in Hollywood. Despite the widespread attention that surrounded Beau Derrick's partnership with John Derrick, their relationship remained one of the most talked about stories in Hollywood during the late 1970s and early 1980s. The significant age difference between them caused many to question the dynamics of their bond, as Beau was just out of her teens, while John was a seasoned man in his late 40s. The circumstances under which their romance began further fueled the media's scrutiny, with critics viewing John as a manipulative figure who sought to shape and control Beau's career and personal life. Many accused him of grooming her into a star, influencing her appearance, choices, and the roles she played. The public often labeled their relationship as controversial, and whispers of exploitation and manipulation were common in the press. Still, Beau Derrick remained loyal to John, and at age 18, she legally married him after overcoming legal challenges. Their union was not merely about love. It also became a business alliance, with Beau working exclusively under John's direction and management. He guided her entire career, overseeing her work as a writer, director, and producer of her films, creating a tightly controlled professional environment. This blending of personal and professional lives was unusual, and often seen as unhealthy in Hollywood. Yet Beau always insisted that her love for John was genuine, and that she made her choices with full awareness. For her, the relationship was a conscious decision, while public opinion saw it as a cautionary tale. Nevertheless, their bond remained strong, enduring until John's death in 1998, with many viewing their relationship as an unorthodox union that challenged social norms and survived decades of judgment and controversy. Since her early career, Beau Derrick's film journey under the guidance of John Derrick has been both controversial and fascinating. Their collaborations began with the delayed release of the film Fantasies, which set the tone for what was to come. Over the years, they worked together on several movies, including Tarzan the Ape Man in 1981, Bolero in 1984, and Ghost Can't Do It in 1989. These films were known for their strong visual style, often featuring slow-motion scenes, and a focus on Beau's physical appearance. The movies had many elements of eroticism, showing her in revealing ways, and pushing the limits of what was acceptable in mainstream cinema at the time. Critics often called these movies shallow, overly sexualized, and artistically empty, but audiences found them intriguing. Many viewers were drawn to the striking visuals, the taboo subjects, and the controversy surrounding Beau's performances. Some of these films became popular hits, while others gained cult status. This created a strange situation where critics mocked her work, but many fans admired her boldness and enjoyed the films. Beau's acting was frequently criticized for being stiff and lacking emotion, but supporters said she understood the style of her movies and knew what she was doing. She often spoke out in her defense, showing pride in her efforts and loyalty to her husband's artistic vision. The style they created together became famous for its lush images, provocative scenes, and a sense of artistic control. This group of movies helped shape Beau Derrick's unique place in Hollywood history as a star who was both loved and criticized, powerful yet bound to the director's vision, creating a complex legacy that endures in film history. Because John Derrick played such a significant role in shaping Beau Derrick's image, his involvement went far beyond simply directing her films. He carefully crafted almost every aspect of her public persona, making her more than just an actress. One of the clearest examples of this was her appearance in Playboy magazine. Unlike many models who worked with professional photographers, Beau's photo shoot was entirely controlled by John Derrick himself. He took charge of the lighting, the framing of each shot, and designed the concept behind the images. This meant that the photo shoot was like an extension of their private relationship and creative partnership. The pictures were provocative, but also carefully planned to show Bo as both sensual and untouchable at the same time, a visual contradiction that captivated the audience. Through this control, John became more than her husband or director. He was the one who sculpted her image for the world. He even created Bo Derek Incorporated, a company responsible for managing her appearances, career choices, and public image. Every decision she made, from the roles she picked to her style at public events, was influenced by John's vision. Critics saw this as a sign of his controlling nature, but Bo often argued that she was a willing partner in their work. She valued the stability and the trust she had in John's understanding of her, even if it meant sacrificing some critical respect from mainstream audiences. Ultimately, through John Derek's lens, Bo was transformed into a stylized icon, a person who was both real and a carefully crafted image, forever marked as a symbol of one man's cinematic dream. During the height of Bo Derek's fame, media coverage often blurred the lines between admiration and scrutiny, creating a complicated picture of her public image. Many interviews from that time showed a complex dynamic between Bo and her partner John Derek. John Derek's statements about Bo were often blunt and sometimes uncomfortable, revealing a side of their relationship that was not just romantic, but also influenced by power and control. He openly talked about her acting skills, her looks, and how much she depended on him, saying these things in a matter-of-fact way that surprised many viewers. Some people appreciated his honesty, while others found his remarks disturbing because they hinted at an imbalance of power. These interviews painted a picture of a relationship that was more than just love or work. It seemed shaped by control, influence, and old-fashioned ideas about gender roles. Bo Derek, who often sat quietly next to him during these interviews, would nod or speak briefly, rarely challenging what John said. Critics argued that she was living in his shadow, with her image carefully crafted to match his ideas of beauty, femininity, and submission. However, Bo often claimed that their relationship was based on mutual respect and loyalty, even though the media wondered if this was completely true. The connection between Bo and John was complex because it existed in a gray area between genuine devotion and dominance. While their work together was successful on the surface, privately, it seemed to involve emotional dependence and the pressure to maintain a perfect image. This openly displayed power dynamic made Bo's story one of the most intriguing and controversial examples of gender and control in modern celebrity history. In the realm of cinematic history, few images have had the lasting impact of Bo Derek's slow-motion beach scene in the film 10. As she runs across the sand, her golden braids flowing behind her, clad in a revealing swimsuit, she became an instant symbol of beauty and grace. This single moment catapulted her to fame, but it did more than make her a star. It made her an icon. The image of Bo Derek in 10 was reproduced endlessly, on posters, in parodies, and throughout popular culture, cementing her status as a figure of idealized beauty. The cornrows she wore in the film ignited a global fashion trend, sparking debates about style, cultural identity, and cultural appropriation. Bo's appearance became a subject of widespread discussion, drawing attention to how beauty can transcend boundaries and even fuel controversy. This iconic look placed her at the heart of global fashion discourse, and her name became synonymous with a kind of timeless allure. Yet, the film 10 itself offered a deeper message. While the world marveled at Bo's external beauty, the story of 10 was about the emptiness of superficial perfection and the realization that true emotional fulfillment comes from love, not fantasy. This theme of illusion versus reality mirrored Bo's own life, as her personal experiences were far more complicated than the perfect image projected on screen. Despite being the ultimate fantasy woman for audiences, her real-life romantic relationships were marked by intense public scrutiny and the challenges of maintaining a connection outside of the fantasy realm. Her long relationship with film director John Derek, for instance, was unconventional and often the subject of media attention, making her life as complex as the film's portrayal of unattainable perfection. The lasting image of Bo Derek running down the beach came to represent both the rise of her career and the heavy burden of unrealistic beauty standards placed upon her. Over time, Bo acknowledged these contradictions, reflecting on how she was celebrated for an image that didn't necessarily match her reality. In a way, 10 became a cultural mirror, both reflecting society's obsession with surface-level perfection and subtly questioning its true worth. Bo's legacy, shaped by this one defining moment, is a reminder of the tension between the fantasy of beauty and the deeper complexities of identity and self-worth. Before becoming known as Bo Derek's husband, and director, John Derek had already built a respectable career in Hollywood. Starting as a striking leading man in the late 1940s and 1950s, he appeared in well-known films like The Ten Commandments, where he played a handsome and commanding figure, often embodying roles that emphasized his rugged looks and intense presence. He also starred in other major movies such as Knock on Any Door and Exodus, further establishing himself as a notable actor of his time. However, as the years went on, opportunities for him to act in prominent films became fewer, and he began to focus more on his creative interests behind the camera. He shifted his career toward directing and photography, a move that would influence the second part of his life. His work with the camera was distinctive, stylized, sensual, and sometimes provocative, reflecting the bold image he later crafted for Bo Derek. This transition was not just a change in job titles, but a deliberate decision to shape the creative process from behind the scenes. John wanted control over every part of his films, often working outside the traditional studio system, with limited budgets but full artistic freedom. This approach allowed him to decide everything from the lighting and wardrobe to the camera angles and the overall storytelling. He was both a visionary and, some say, obsessive in his pursuit of a specific visual style, especially when presenting Bo as a piece of living art. His choice to direct his wife's career was a conscious effort to maintain artistic control and to create a new kind of star, blending love, art, and personal vision. While his work was often controversial, it was driven by his desire to push boundaries and challenge conventional Hollywood standards. His legacy is complex. He is recognized as someone with genuine talent and a strong artistic eye, but also as a man whose need for control influenced how his wife was portrayed and perceived in the film world. Even many years later, the films he made with Bo Derek continue to spark debate about art, control, and personal freedom in cinema. After John Derek's death in 1998 from heart failure, Bo Derek faced a significant turning point that changed her life in many ways. For more than 20 years, she had been closely associated with John's vision and career, which made many people wonder how she would move forward alone. During the years that followed, Bo quietly withdrew from the public eye and started to rebuild her life on her own terms. The most important change happened when she began a new relationship with actor and country music personality John Corbett. This partnership was very different from her past relationships because it was based on equality, companionship, and shared humor instead of controversy or control. Corbett was known for being easygoing and down-to-earth, qualities that gave Bo something she had not fully experienced in her younger years: emotional safety and a peaceful life away from public drama. Their relationship has stayed mostly private, which is very different from the media frenzy that followed her during the time she was with John Derek. Bo also found happiness in causes that mattered to her, such as animal welfare and helping veterans. Although she never regained the same level of fame she had in the 1980s, Bo seemed content with this quieter, more personal chapter of her life. Her years after Derek show not just a new romantic beginning, but also a personal growth, one where she could define herself without the influence of directors or critical audiences. By finding peace and stability, Bo Derek proved that her story was not over. It simply moved into a new, more genuine phase. As time passed, Bo Derek began to reflect more deeply on the impact of her early decisions, particularly her role in the breakdown of John Derek's marriage to actress Linda Evans. What initially seemed like an exhilarating romance, full of passion and rebellion, took on a more complex emotional weight as the years went by. In a rare moment of candor during a 2020 interview, Bo shared her ongoing regret and self-hatred over her involvement in the dissolution of that marriage. Her voice, usually steady and composed, quivered slightly as she spoke about the emotional toll her actions had taken. For many years, Bo had defended her relationship with John, framing it as a love story that transcended circumstances. She had justified her choices, claiming they were driven by devotion and the connection she felt to him. However, as time wore on and the intensity of youth faded, the moral implications of those choices became increasingly difficult to ignore. In her later years, Bo acknowledged the pain she had caused to another woman, a woman who had once been deeply loved by the same man. This moment of honesty, offered years after John's death, painted a new picture of Bo Derek. It showed her not only as a symbol of beauty and sensuality, but as a woman grappling with the emotional fallout of her past actions. She did not seek to absolve herself, nor could she, but she gave the world a glimpse of the person behind the public image, a woman with a conscience, wrestling with the consequences of her decisions long after the cameras stopped rolling. Certainly, here is a detailed and cohesive account based solely on the provided summary about Bo Derek and her connection to Linda Evans and Dynasty. Although Bo Derek is best known for her iconic roles in films like 10 and her striking appearance, her life also contains moments of emotional depth and unexpected reconciliation. One of these moments involves her relationship with actress Linda Evans, who was famous for her role in the television series Dynasty. Despite the intense rivalry often portrayed between women in Hollywood, Linda Evans showed remarkable forgiveness and grace in a time when her marriage had fallen apart. This hurt, caused by the collapse of her marriage, was deep, yet Linda demonstrated a surprising strength by choosing to participate in Bo Derek's documentary called Bo Derek in My Own Words. This gesture surprised many because it was a clear sign of her willingness to move beyond pain and resentment. During the filming of the documentary, Linda Evans offered Bo Derek kindness and empathy. Instead of holding on to old feelings of rivalry, she shared a sense of camaraderie rooted in their shared history, and she showed genuine understanding rather than bitterness. This shift in attitude was a stunning contrast to the usual images of rivalry that often appear in Hollywood stories. Linda's actions showed that forgiveness, while difficult, was indeed possible. Her kindness opened the door for healing and gave Bo Derek a chance to confront her own feelings. For Bo, this encounter helped her face long-held guilt and shame, providing a form of emotional release and closure. Linda's grace under pressure and her willingness to acknowledge their past without condemning Bo allowed her to let go of some of her shame and move forward. Their conversation was about more than just their history. It was about growth, perspective, and understanding the complex bond that women can develop when they share common experiences, especially those involving someone they once saw as a rival. To the public, seeing Linda Evans and Bo Derek together, once torn apart by jealousy and betrayal, but now sharing a moment of reflection, served as a powerful reminder that healing is often possible, even after deep personal pain. The story of their reconciliation resonates because it shows that forgiveness can bring about unexpected peace and renewal, teaching all who observe that moving past hurt requires strength, but can lead to profound emotional liberation. However, although Linda Evans' career was significantly boosted by her role in Dynasty, many people might not realize how her personal life influenced her acting journey. The collapse of her marriage to John Derek was a deeply emotional experience that shook her to her core. Still, it became a turning point, pushing her to look inward and search for a new direction in life. During this difficult period, Linda found herself at a crossroads, feeling both vulnerable and uncertain about her future. Yet, unexpectedly, this period of hardship opened a door for her to reinvent herself professionally. When she was offered the role of Crystal Carrington, she decided to take a risk. Playing Crystal, the sophisticated and morally upright character, allowed Linda to showcase her talent and emotional range. Her performance struck a chord with audiences, making her a well-known star across the world. Week after week, viewers saw her embody strength, grace, and inner resilience that reflected her own personal struggles and growth. Her success on Dynasty wasn't just about acting. It was a story of overcoming personal pain and turning it into something positive. Linda's ability to keep her dignity intact, especially in a time when her private life was often in the spotlight, showed her strength. She chose not to dwell on past hurts or blame others, especially Bo Derek, whose own rising fame sometimes caused tension. Instead, Linda focused on her own development, showing a quiet dignity that earned her respect. Over time, her grace and resilience made her more admired not only for her acting, but also for her character. Linda Evans' story is one of rising above heartbreak and turning adversity into new opportunities, proving that she not only survived betrayal, but also transformed her life triumphantly. From an early age, Bo Derek was a California girl with a free spirit and a rebellious streak that shaped her life from the start. Growing up along the beautiful coastlines of Southern California, she was often seen with salt in her hair and a carefree attitude. Her teenage years were filled with sunny afternoons on the beach, enjoying bonfires with friends, and surfing the waves instead of sitting in a classroom. Bo's desire for independence made her skip school many times because she preferred the thrill of riding the ocean's current and feeling the wind rather than following strict school rules. Her mother, working as a Hollywood makeup artist, gave Bo an inside look into the world of entertainment from a young age. This exposure sparked her curiosity about show business, making the glamour and excitement seem within reach. As she grew older and recognized her own beauty, Bo decided to leave school altogether and pursue acting, trusting her instincts and believing in her own path. Her rebellious nature was more than just a teenage phase. It became a core part of who she was. This inner defiance influenced her decisions, including her relationship with the actor and director John Derek, which was also marked by a sense of independence and resistance to Hollywood expectations. Her refusal to conform and her daring attitude shaped her career and her life choices, leading her down a path that was uniquely her own, regardless of what others thought. Her rebellious spirit remained a key part of her identity, helping her carve out a career in Hollywood that was bold and distinctive, and her youthful confidence carried her through many challenges along the way. Initially, Bo Derek entered the film industry at a very young age, just 16, under circumstances that were both controversial and complicated. Her first acting project, Fantasies, was filmed in Greece and was directed by John Derek, who at the time was still married to Linda Evans. The movie itself was modest in scale, with a low budget, minimal planning, and an underdeveloped script that mainly relied on visual appeal rather than storytelling. Bo was still a minor when she filmed Fantasies, and the film's sensual tone immediately raised legal and ethical questions about her involvement. Fearing the repercussions of the film's explicit content and how it might affect her reputation, Bo and John Derek tried for years to prevent its release. Their efforts included legal actions and public statements condemning the film's quality and purpose. Despite their attempts, Fantasies was released without their consent after Bo had already risen to fame and become a major star. She later spoke openly about her feelings regarding the experience, calling the film messy and illogical, but stopping short of regret. She recognized it as a part of her past, an awkward start that she couldn't erase, but also wouldn't let define her entire life. The ordeal revealed the challenges of early fame and the risks of entering an adult world without fully understanding its consequences. It was her first encounter with the complexities of maintaining a public image and foreshadowed the controversies that would follow her throughout her career. Bo Derek's early experience highlighted the importance of boundaries and responsibility in the entertainment industry, and it remained a significant chapter in her life story. After the release of the film 10 in 1979, Bo Derek's rise to fame happened very quickly, almost overnight. Her appearance in the movie caught the attention of the public and became a cultural sensation. Her hairstyle, with her hair braided into cornrows, along with her bronze skin and beaming beachside beauty, captured the essence of the late 70s style and sex appeal. Instead of just acting in the film, she seemed to embody a fantasy that many people found exciting and irresistible. Because of this, she became widely recognized as a new standard of beauty, with her image appearing on posters, magazine covers, and even in dorm rooms around the world. Hollywood immediately saw the potential of her popularity. Even though she was not trained as a renowned actress and was not celebrated by critics for her acting skills, Bo Derek was offered prominent roles in movies like Tarzan the Ape Man and Bolero. These films focused more on her physical appeal than on storytelling or emotional depth. Critics often ridiculed these movies, but they still attracted large audiences, mainly because of Bo's sensual image and marketability. Her success was based less on her acting talent and more on her overall image, allure, and the way she carefully crafted her public persona. Even when critics were harsh, she did not shy away from the attention. She understood that her fame was partly about her visual appeal and what she projected publicly. While this fame gave her financial success and cultural recognition, it also brought challenges, such as constant objectification, pressure from the industry, and the feeling that her true talents might never be fully appreciated beyond her looks. After starring in many films during the 1970s and early 1980s, Bo Derek made a bold move with the release of Bolero in 1984. She took on the role not only as an actress, but also as a producer, indicating her desire to have more control over her projects. The film was directed by John Derek, her husband, and was meant to be their most daring film yet. It was designed to be provocative and artistic, pushing limits with its explicit sexual content. As a result, Bolero received an X rating, which generated immediate controversy and divided opinions. The film intended to stand out as a bold and novel cinematic experience, but critics rapidly panned it for its flaws. They pointed out its poor writing, stiff acting, and lack of clear direction. Bo's performance in the film was heavily criticized, and even considered one of the worst performances of the year. Because of this, Bolero swept the Golden Raspberry Awards, also known as the Razzies, winning Worst Picture and Worst Actress. This outcome did not elevate Bo's career as she might have hoped, but instead reinforced the idea that her fame was based more on spectacle than on acting talent. Despite its failure, Bolero remains an important part of her story, as it kept her in the public eye and drew some viewers out of curiosity, even if it didn't perform well commercially. Today, Bolero is often seen as an example of excessive filmmaking, artistic misjudgment, and the dangers of staying isolated from mainstream Hollywood standards. It was a humbling experience for Bo Derek, who later acknowledged that the film did not meet her expectations. However, she never fully disowned the project. In many ways, Bolero was the last attempt by John and Bo Derek to challenge Hollywood's conventions, a final, audacious effort that ultimately ended more in ridicule than respect. After her final collaboration with John Derek on the film Ghosts Can't Do It, Bo Derek's career in Hollywood saw a clear decline. Released in 1989, the film was meant to be a romantic fantasy with supernatural elements, aiming to combine sensuality and storytelling. However, it turned out to be a disappointment both critically and commercially. The movie was seen as incoherent and poorly made, with strange casting choices and dialogue that did not connect well. Bo Derek was once again awarded a Razzie for Worst Actress, and this added to the ridicule and criticism she faced. The failure of Ghosts Can't Do It marked the end of the Derek-directed era in her career, and her appearances in films gradually became less frequent. Recognizing the changing trends in Hollywood and her own career struggles, Bo began to step back from acting and the public eye. After the death of her husband John Derek in 1998, she pulled away even more from the entertainment industry. Instead of chasing movie roles, she turned her attention to causes that mattered deeply to her. Her love for animals led her into horse rescue work, where she dedicated time and effort to helping abandoned or neglected horses. She also became a passionate supporter of veterans, regularly visiting military hospitals and speaking out for their needs and well-being. Over time, her life shifted away from glamour and controversy towards service and philanthropy. Bo Derek found fulfillment in helping others, and her focus on meaningful pursuits helped her redefine her legacy beyond her days on the silver screen. Her quiet, purposeful life showed that she could leave behind Hollywood's bright lights to find a new sense of strength and purpose. Now approaching 70, Bo Derek lives with a level of clarity and emotional balance that seemed out of reach during the chaotic heights of her youth. Her relationship with actor and musician John Corbett has spanned over 2 decades, and in that time she has found something both elusive and deeply healing: peace. Unlike the high-profile, complex dynamic she had with John Derek, her partnership with Corbett is built on lightness, humor, and emotional safety. She often describes him as a man who brings laughter into her life, someone who never takes things too seriously, and who gives her the freedom to simply be. That gentle, joyful presence has become a grounding force in her later years. Reflecting on her earlier life, Bo speaks with mixed emotions. There is still lingering regret for those she unintentionally hurt, particularly Linda Evans, and for the years she spent in a rigidly controlled environment. But there is also gratitude for the love she shared, the experiences that shaped her, and the unusual path that led her to where she is now. With Corbett, there are no expectations, no curated image to uphold, just a quiet, private life filled with shared meals, long conversations, and the kind of emotional connections she once only dreamed of. After decades in the public eye, often defined by spectacle and judgment, Bo has found something far more meaningful: love that doesn't demand, and companionship that soothes. Although Bo Derek is widely known for her work in Hollywood, she has found a different life that brings her peace and fulfillment deep in the countryside of California. Tucked away on a vast ranch, she has created a space that feels far removed from the busy world of movies and red carpets. This ranch life reflects her childhood dreams, where she wakes up with the rising sun and cares for horses and other animals that live on her land. Instead of busy schedules and the glare of fame, her days follow the natural rhythm of the land, offering her a calm and simple lifestyle. The ranch is more than just a house. It is her sanctuary, a place where she can heal and reconnect with herself. Over the years, she has come to feel a sense of ownership over her own life, making her own choices without outside restrictions. The loud noises and constant attention of her youth are replaced by the quiet sounds of open fields and the peaceful presence of nature. She spends her days riding horses, helping with veteran support projects, gardening, cooking, and walking with her dog Corbett. These small, everyday pleasures now bring her happiness that once seemed distant amid the chaos of fame. The ranch represents everything she wanted: a life that allows her to be genuine, peaceful, and true to herself. Since she has always been open about her feelings and experiences, Bo Derek has approached the subject of motherhood with gentle honesty. Despite the curiosity and societal expectations surrounding women and motherhood, she made a clear choice not to have children. It wasn't because she didn't love children or didn't want a family. Rather, her life circumstances during her most active years did not allow for it. Her career in the entertainment industry, combined with her personal life, was marked by instability and the many challenges that come with fame. During those years, she was involved in a controversial relationship with John Derek, which kept her focused on her work and personal growth rather than starting a family. Looking back, Bo doesn't express regret in the typical way. Instead, she reflects thoughtfully on her life and acknowledges that, with a different set of circumstances, her path might have been different. Nevertheless, she does not dwell on missed opportunities. Instead, she has found fulfillment in other ways, such as caring for animals, supporting veterans, and engaging with her community. Her life is rich with purpose and quiet joy, sharing a deep bond with Corbett built on mutual respect and companionship. Though she and Corbett have never had children, their relationship exemplifies her belief that family and fulfillment can be redefined beyond biology. She understands that love, loyalty, and kindness can create a nurturing environment, one rooted in compassion for others and the world around her. As she continues her journey, Bo Derek's story shows that happiness and purpose can be found in many forms, emphasizing inner strength and genuine connection above traditional expectations. Since her rise to fame, Bo Derek was seen as the epitome of beauty and style. Her iconic cornrowed hairstyle in the movie 10 became a symbol of youthful glamour and confidence. This look was celebrated and copied worldwide, making her a fashion trendsetter in the 20th century. However, as time went on, and society grew more aware of cultural sensitivities, Bo Derek's perspective on her famous hairstyle changed. She openly admitted that the cornrows, which once made her look bold and fashionable, are now recognized as a form of cultural appropriation. She understands that what was considered stylish then may now cause discomfort or hurt feelings. With maturity and humility, she has spoken about her awareness of this shift without trying to erase her past. She accepts that her previous look was a product of its time, a time when conversations about race, identity, and representation were less nuanced. Today, Bo no longer wears her hair in cornrows and chooses to focus on her present self. She keeps her natural beauty alive and chooses to wear her age with pride. Instead of trying to recreate her past, she approaches her public image with softness and grace, showing that she values growth and understanding. Her evolution as a person reflects her willingness to adapt and accept the complexities of cultural change. By letting go of the iconic image that made her famous, Bo Derek invites a deeper reflection on self-awareness and respect for cultural differences. She recognizes her past and embraces her growth, exemplifying a woman who moves forward with grace and dignity. And despite her later success as an actress, Bo Derek's early years reveal a different side of her life, one filled with daring and defiance. She remembers how she often skipped school without a second thought, feeling the thrill of breaking rules and escaping routines. She would disappear for hours to the beach, soaking up the sun, and letting her curiosity guide her, without worry about the time or consequences. Along California highways, she would thumb rides from strangers, trusting her instincts, but also taking risks that could have been dangerous. At the time, these actions felt like complete freedom, spontaneous and exhilarating, an expression of her youthful desire to explore and test limits. Looking back, she admits these decisions now seem reckless and frightening, especially understanding how easily things could have gone wrong. She doesn't share these stories to be proud or for shock value, but to show her personal growth. Her youthful recklessness was a sign of independence, but also a symbol of her unformed sense of what was safe and what was risky. This period was driven by impulse and curiosity as she pushed boundaries, unaware of how fragile her safety could be. It was also the starting point that led her into acting, to meeting John Derek, and eventually into a life in the public eye. Yet, these years also left her vulnerable, forcing her to learn important lessons about responsibility and self-care. Now, she speaks about her early years with a mix of affection and caution, recognizing that those experiences shaped her, but no longer hold power over her. She is open about her impulsive youth to show how much she has changed, from a girl who ran away from convention to a woman who understands herself better and seeks inner peace. Her story is a reminder that growth often comes from the moments when mistakes are made, and she hopes others can see that even reckless beginnings can lead to a better, more grounded life. Initially, The Making of Fantasies, which was originally titled Once Upon a Love, was not a typical Hollywood production. Instead of smooth planning and clear direction, it took place in the bright, sunny villages of Greece, giving the project a fairy tale-like setting. Bo Derek, who was only 16 years old at the time, was cast as the lead by John Derek. She was excited about traveling to such a beautiful location and being part of the filmmaking process, but the experience turned out to be much more complicated and confusing than she expected. The film's story was supposed to be simple and romantic, but it started to go in confusing directions and became uncomfortable to watch. Halfway through filming, the production faced serious problems when they ran out of money. This caused the crew to stop working on the movie for a long time, and they could not finish it as planned. When the film was finally released many years later, neither Bo nor John Derek had control over how it looked or what it included. The final version was very different from what they had originally imagined. Its focus on sensual themes and the awkward portrayal of adolescence made it feel strange and disconnected to viewers, especially when looking back with more experience. Bo has openly spoken about feeling uncomfortable with the nudity and suggestive scenes involving a character based on her younger self. She sees the film as a reflection of her vulnerability at that age, when she trusted someone to help shape her image without fully understanding what that meant. Although she does not harbor resentment, she views fantasies as a warning about the risks of being naive when faced with adult ambitions, and the pitfalls of giving someone else control over your image. The experience taught her valuable lessons about trusting her instincts and understanding the costs of fame and artistic choices at such a young age. After her experience with the film Fantasies, Bo Derek's next acting opportunity came in 1977 with the thriller Orca, where she played a supporting role alongside Richard Harris. Although her part was small, it allowed her to show her strong screen presence and caught the attention of those watching her. This small role was important because it set the stage for something bigger that was about to happen in her career. 2 years later, she starred in the romantic comedy 10, a film that would make her famous around the world. The movie included a famous scene on the beach where Bo jogs in slow motion, wearing golden cornrows. The scene was simple but powerful, and it showed her confidence and natural beauty. It became a special moment in movies and helped define a whole generation's idea of beauty and style. As a result, Bo Derek's face was everywhere. She appeared on posters, on talk shows, and in magazines. She became a pinup sensation, a symbol of glamour that many admired. Even though she looked like a perfect icon of beauty, she struggled with understanding who she truly was. She knew that her looks played a big part in her fame, but she also wondered what kind of person she was beyond the images people saw. Her early movies and her beauty gave her big chances, but they also made her feel confined, sometimes trapped by the label of being just a symbol of beauty. All of this points to the challenge she faced in trying to find her own place beyond her look. Following her rise to fame, Bo Derek starred in 2 films that had a significant impact on her career and reputation, but also drew considerable criticism. She played the leading role in Tarzan the Ape Man in 1981 and Bolero in 1984, both directed by John Derek. These movies solidified her status as a well-known Hollywood actress, yet they also sparked a lot of backlash from critics. The films focused a lot on visual effects, exotic locations, and dreamlike scenes, rather than solid stories or character development. Critics did not hold back. They said the scripts were weak, the characters were flat, and the overall direction was overly indulgent. Bo's acting was often called stiff and unconvincing, and many questioned her range as an actress. Despite the harsh reviews, both movies did well at the box office, especially Tarzan the Ape Man, which earned millions of dollars. This showed a clear divide between critics' opinions and audience enthusiasm. Many viewers were fascinated by Bo, eager to see her, and willing to pay for the spectacle offered by these films. To some, this proved that Hollywood prioritized style over substance. To others, it demonstrated Bo's strong screen presence and charisma. Over time, Bo Derek has reflected on these experiences, feeling proud but also resigned. She does not reject the films outright, but she understands that they established a particular image for her in Hollywood, one of sex appeal and exotic beauty. These movies exemplified a period when sensation and visual appeal could overshadow storytelling. They made her famous, but also typecast her in a way she found difficult to change. This era in film history highlighted how appearance could sometimes eclipse acting skill, creating a complex legacy for Bo. Because of Bolero, Bo Derek's reputation faced a lot of criticism and negative reactions from the public and reviewers alike. The film was meant to be a grand, sensual story set across various countries, showing a woman's journey of sexual awakening. However, instead of capturing the audience with its beauty and story, it became a target for harsh judgment. The movie contained very explicit scenes, which were unusual for the time, and even earned it an X rating. This bold content made many people uncomfortable and sparked controversy. Critics said the plot was weak, confusing, and full of unnecessary scenes that only focused on being provocative. Reviewers described the film as tone-deaf, embarrassing, and exploitative, and Bo Derek, who not only starred but also helped produce it, was heavily criticized for her performance. She received a Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Actress, adding to the idea that her appeal was based more on her looks than her acting skills. John Derek, her husband and director of the film, was also criticized because his directing looked amateurish and the dialogue was awkward and poorly written. The story was disorganized, making it hard to follow, and the film failed to meet its artistic goals. Instead of showing artistic freedom and sensuality, Bolero became known as a film that missed the mark by a wide margin. Over time, it became infamous not for its aspirations but for how badly it fell short. Interestingly, this notoriety helped the film stay in the public eye, turning it into a symbol of a project that was overambitious and ultimately unsuccessful. The film's failure also cemented Bo Derek's place in Hollywood history, not as a serious actress, but as part of a cinematic misfire that is remembered for its boldness and ultimately its flaws. Since stepping away from Hollywood, Bo Derek has quietly but powerfully changed how people see her. She no longer walks on red carpets or stars in big movies, but she remains an active and visible figure in public life. Her love for animals, especially horses, has made her an outspoken supporter of horse rescue programs. She uses her platform to bring attention to neglected and abandoned animals across the country. At the same time, she has long supported veterans, especially those who are disabled and need help returning to civilian life. She often visits military hospitals, talks about the needs of service members, and takes part in projects that aim to improve care and recognition for veterans. These actions are not just for show. They come from her real concern and her wish to make a difference. Through her work, Bo Derek has redefined her purpose and moved from a symbol of beauty and fantasy to someone of kindness and action. This change shows her growth, understanding, and quiet heroism. Even though many still remember her from the beach scene in 10, her current efforts tell a new story, a story of redemption, service, and dignity, where she uses her fame for meaningful causes and genuine compassion. Despite the passing years, Bo Derek's enduring beauty and confident attitude remind us that age is just a number. Her transformation over the decades shows not only physical changes, but also a deep sense of acceptance and self-love. Today, she radiates grace and strength, proving that embracing one's true self can be more attractive than any youthful look. Her style may have evolved, but her charm remains timeless, inspiring many to see aging as a natural part of life that can be celebrated. Bo Derek's story encourages us all to face the years ahead with pride and resilience, understanding that true beauty comes from within and only grows brighter with time. Watching her today reminds us that staying true to ourselves can lead to a fulfilling and inspiring life at any